Document is they admitted that PlayStation Plus is lagging behind Xbox Game Pass. In fact, they say that it's considerably lagging behind. And the main thing they point out here is that they fear that Microsoft will leverage Call of Duty for Game Pass, make it available through Game Pass, and they will not allow Sony to do the same thing with PlayStation Plus. And Sony fears that because of this advantage, it will lead to people not buying Call of Duty on PlayStation and instead going to Game Pass. It's a logical conclusion, but in, again, a desperate attempt, for Sony to try to prevent this, they're basically trying to prop up Game Pass and make it seem like PlayStation Plus, is way behind, and this is just a major advantage that Xbox has over them. But continuing on, something else that Sony said that definitely caught a lot of attention is that apparently Sony believes that Microsoft's true strategy is to make PlayStation like Nintendo. And this is what Sony said. Microsoft claims that Nintendo's differentiated model demonstrates that PlayStation doesn't need Call of Duty to compete effectively. But this reveals Microsoft's true strategy. Microsoft wants PlayStation to become like Nintendo, said it would be a less close and effective competitor to Xbox. Post-transaction, Xbox would become the one-stop shop for all the best-selling shooter franchises on console: Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, Doom, Overwatch, as the decision explains it, and it would then be free from serious competitive pressure. The franchise is firmly entrenched in gamers' psyche. Every installment since Call of Duty was first released back in 2003 has consistently topped the charts. Ignoring these facts, Microsoft argues that Nintendo has been successful without access to Call of Duty. This misses the point. The decision identifies a wide body of evidence showing that Nintendo offers a differentiated experience to Xbox and PlayStation because it is focused on family-friendly games that are very different from PEGI 18 FPS games like Call of Duty. Now, to me, this is a more interesting argument that Sony's making, and I think out of everything that Sony has said here, this probably holds the most weight, and I think this actually makes the most sense. The notion that Microsoft would like to get Sony into a position that's more like Nintendo is actually something that I think Microsoft themselves admitted. That was when Phil Spencer said that, they don't view Sony and Nintendo as their main competition. They view the likes of Amazon and Google as their main competition. To me, it's always kind of been clear that Microsoft is trying to carve out their own market that is kind of separating PlayStation and Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's already separated, but this is something that I actually do believe. But I do think where Sony is taking this a bit too far is, they're listing Gears of War here and Halo, and I get that, but I don't think it's fair to use those because, those have always been Microsoft first party. I think what makes Sony look really strange here is you have Bungie now. You have the creators of Halo itself. You have the creators of Destiny. If there was a publisher out there that has the ability to compete with Call of Duty, to compete with Doom, to compete with these titles, it's actually Sony. And I think that's really why this maybe doesn't hold that much weight, because to me, it again just kind of reads as Sony is putting all of their eggs in the Call of Duty basket. And I just don't like it, because it's like, Sony, you can try to, fill in some of these gaps, maybe not all of them, right? I mean, you have Bungie. So, it's a little weird, but I do understand this argument from Sony.